Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
There was a dream a million miles away. There was fire in
Amazon.com. You know, I won't be surprised if more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon. It's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no-cost-to-you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy. Hello, welcome to Ruel's Running Podcast. I am your host, Ruel. Sometimes Ru, sometimes Ruel. And today's episode is a very special guest episode with Anna Vocino. Now, a little background, and I've talked about it on the vlog at youtube.com/RuelsRunning, and I've talked about it on previous episodes of the podcast, where I sat down and recorded with Anna Vocino, and on the same day, I recorded with Lonnie Beecham and Vinnie Tortorich. The order of those recordings are this: Lonnie, Anna, and Vinnie. So if I were to release the episodes in that order, we would be listening to my conversation with Lonnie, which is an awesome conversation. We talk about some important stuff and then wrap it up with some really, really gnarly stuff. And I'm really anxious to share that with you guys. But I think Lonnie wouldn't disagree, and Lonnie, being the gentleman he is, he would be willing to sort of let ladies first kind of a deal, where he would be okay with having my conversation with Anna Vocino get released before his, and then we'll let the guys' episodes follow after. So my apologies to Lonnie, but I know that he'll understand. Anna, I really want to get the conversation with Anna released here first, and go with that. So again, this is a very special conversation that I had with who I like to call a good friend, Anna Vocino. She has a new book called Eat Happy, and we'll talk about it here, and you'll get to hear her tell her story about the cookbook, the other things that are going on in her life with comedy and voiceover, and we'll go with that. So without further ado, the mighty, mighty, mighty Anna Vocino, everybody.
My air conditioning's on. Sorry, it's gonna make a noise.
My AC is on, and so is the engine. I am podcasting out of a vehicle.
Yeah, there's like a funny that happens.
Yeah, sorry.
But that's okay.
That's my heart.
Well, I'm glad it's working.
I'm glad we're able to connect. How's your day going?
It's going well.
It's been crazy over here.
What's going on? You had Lonnie, and then you have me, and then you have Vinny?
Well, I had to. Tony Portera had to reschedule our call today because he's in the middle of he's knee deep in work.
Yeah.
And so that's cool. Then
whatever, Tony.
Yeah. Good old Tony.
Wait, are we rolling?
I apologize. I hit record before I forget.
Oh, so we are rolling.
Yeah, just so that I don't miss anything.
Did I say anything bad about anybody?
No, you did not.
Can I still say something bad about somebody?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay,
good. Then post, you can hit me up post and say, take that out, don't put that, put this instead.
Oh, no, I don't think I said anything too horrible.
No. And you're likely recording as well, so then you can always review what we talk about.
No, I'm not recording. You know me. I'm such a professional. I'm like, I don't know what I said. It's fine.
Yeah, so then I had some time to kill, and I got a hold of Mark Thompson on Skype. Do you remember Mark Thompson from New Zealand?
Mark Thompson from New Zealand, yes, of course.
Yeah. I unfortunately couldn't get him on a call, so what I did was I recorded sort of my own my regular one and myself type show.
Yeah.
But then talked about the text I was feeding through the Skype chat with Mark. So I'm like, so Mark, how was your summer? And then I'd fill in some time, talk about stuff on my world, and then here's Mark coming back, and then I would read what he said, and then
that's funny.
Yeah, today's just kind of like all over the place. And then I got a hold of Lonnie, and you're right.
I know. Lonnie told me, he was like, I had to talk to Ruel in a few minutes. Like, he was like too busy to Facebook message me. And I was like, okay. Oh, I'm sorry you're so busy.
I took him away from you just for a moment.
It's fine. I was getting him to post. The book is up on Amazon.
Woohoo!
Which, only took, 3 years to put it up.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting.
It is. It's exciting. It is very exciting. And it is right now just the ebook that's for pre-sale, and we're still working on the hard copy. It's not quite to where it should be.
Yeah.
So it's it's going to take a little time.
Oh God, it's so cool.
It is cool. I'm very excited.
Yeah. So that's is that what you call the pre-launch for the month? The ebook?
Yeah, the ebook is definitely pre-launching because it won't, like, if you buy it now, it's one of those things where you pre-purchase it and then on August 2nd, it'll automatically download to your Kindle. But some people are going to be holding out for the hard copy, and I don't blame them.
Ooh.
Because I'm very much I like hard copies of cookbooks too, so I get it. But that's why I want the hard copy of the cookbook to be perfect, because that's what I'm into.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect cookbooks.
I imagine, though, that you'd have, like, second edition, third edition, or some other book down the road.
Yeah, I will. I'm already working on a second cookbook, but let's see how this one does first before I say anything. I could be cursing everything,
Okay. I don't know. You guys put out great stuff on your website, Vocino.com.
Thank you.
And, online, on Twitter, and in the Facebook group, people are like, oh my God, and I have a little newsletter for Ruel's Running Podcast.
Yeah.
And I shared a recipe recently.
Oh, thank you.
And that was my little moment on email blast to say, hey, and Anna's pre-releasing her book this month, and next month, look out for the release, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, thank you for doing that. That's so nice.
Get go to her website, subscribe to her thing so that you stay up to date, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Well, I feel very lucky because at this point in the game, Vinny and I have been podcasting for about over 4 years now. So we've built up a really great audience of fans who, a lot of whom, like yourself, we've gotten to know as friends. So I feel super humbled and lucky that there is a network of people who are willing to reach out to their contacts to say, buy this book. So thank you.
Yay. Yeah.
Yay.
I was just, speaking of Vinny, I was just talking to him earlier. Like 2:55 is when we cut off because his burger got delivered. He's eating a burger right now.
Oh, I'm jealous. I want a burger.
But yeah, we were talking about how the audience has grown. And I told him, like, dude, you, Anna, then how the whole NSNG organization has evolved.
Yep.
I can only speak to myself, like
right.
how you guys have impacted my life. I am not online the way I am today if it had not been for you guys. And
right.
I wouldn't be feeling as healthy and young as I feel, had it not been for what you guys put out. So shoot, I'm happy to, blast as much as I can. Just
That's
let me
awesome.
know if I'm overusing your name on my website or on my podcast.
I haven't been. Do I need to go do an
and you want
audit
me
of the website?
Well, I sort of, and folks that follow any of the stuff that I do, every time I post a podcast episode, the show notes will say, and be sure to check out AnnaVocino.com for recipes, and check out Vinny Tortorich if you want to know more about the NSNG lifestyle.
That's awesome. No, I think that's great.
It's sort of like my standard do that and get social.
Yeah, get social. Hey, I mean, you know what? You just started reaching out to us and we made friends. Like, that's how you do it on social media. I'm always surprised at the people who just kind of bark about stuff but never actually engage with other humans.
Oh, yeah. When I started this thing, it was like, okay, do I have the balls to actually record something and put it out?
Right.
Because I'm inspired by you guys. Right?
Yeah.
And then I'll go on like all the other podcast gurus. I'm like, they make it seem so simple, right?
Right.
So I can do that, but so then I get myself out there. I'm like, okay, now what am I going to talk about?
That's the key. What are we going to talk about after episode 650?
It's like, what moves me? Well, what I'm really excited about is that I'm not eating sugars and I'm not eating the grains, and I'm being able to function, at a energy level and meet weight loss goals. And I do want to climb on top of the highest mountain and say, this stuff is awesome, but no matter who hears me, not everyone's going to want to partake of
That's true. You're absolutely right. But that's what's so great about the internet is that you can kind of find your people, find your audience.
Yeah. And, had it not been for that, I wouldn't have, tried to muster up the guts to reach out and say, hey, Anna, would you mind getting on my podcast for a little something so we can talk about French fry trays and whatnot?
French fry trays.
Yeah, French fry trays and French, I can't even say it, trays.
French fry trays. That's hard. That's a lot.
Speaking of French, you took a trip to Europe recently, didn't you?
Yes. I got to go to Paris, and it was the weirdest thing. Jessica Gottlieb called me up, and she's like, I'm going to Paris, and I'm going to have them invite you along, too. And what it was the Chinese company Huawei. They were having a summit about their new technology. They're working on 5G phones. They have really cool phone. They have this one phone that has a Leica camera in the phone. It's this really slick looking Android based phone. And then they have really cool like their version of the Apple Watch, And so for fitness stuff and for my audience, like it made sense. And plus for me personally, I would like a phone with a Leica camera in it. Like it's unbelievable. It's a really good camera. It kind of blows the iPhone camera out of the water. But they basically flew me there so that I would cover the event, which is not something I normally do. I'm not a press person. You know what I mean? I don't blog about, I blog about stuff I'm super passionate about. So it was good to have that experience to get to know, but hello, we're going to Paris, Yeah. So they can't give you a stipend. You know what I mean? So they fly you there and put you up and you cover their event. So I figure, well, if I'm going all the way to Europe from LA, it's 11 and a half hour flight, I'm going to hang out for a few extra days. And I flew down to Bari and had Paul Capelli pick me up at the airport and stayed a few days at the villa. At Villa Capelli. So that was unbelievable, as you would imagine.
Oh yeah.
And I had hung out with Paul before, but Steven wasn't there when I was there in 2011. So his boyfriend Steven was there, who I adore as well. And it's so funny because Steven totally does NSNG and Paul totally does not do NSNG. However, because Steven cooks for him that way, Paul's lost weight. Like he looks so good.
Yeah, I love those guys. I follow them on social and I listen to their podcast. God.
They're great.
Yeah, they're great. Cool.
And Paul Capelli will tell insane stories. He's one of the best storytellers I've ever known. His podcast is really great. Living Villa Capelli, I think it's called.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, it's great.
When I listen to those guys' podcasts, it takes me away. I'm on vacation when I'm listening to those guys.
And it's funny because they're in an area of Italy that they would probably disagree with this, but I call it like the Alabama of Italy because it's a place that not many tourists are going. Like it's just off the beaten path. And it's like the real embed Italian culture. Like people don't speak English in Terlizzi. You know what I mean? Like it's not like everywhere you go in other places in Europe that are more well-traveled. It's like, that's like the true Italian rednecks down there.
I love it.
And so it's really, you feel like you're off the beaten path when you're there.
And you can probably, I can only imagine, know what it's like to eat back in the day because it hasn't really changed.
It hasn't. And when one morning we woke up and we decided to go, because every store closes at 1, so you have to make sure you get all your shopping done before that. So we went to the fish guy, the butcher, the salami guy, and got some salami and mortadella. And then we went to the cheese guy. We went to the baker because they were getting their bread.
And then we went to, there was another one. There's another, the fruit and vegetable lady. So we literally, and then we went to the coffee lady. You know what I mean? Like we went to each individual store. It's still old school. And when the people go on vacation, they just shut down their stores and they're not there for 3 weeks.
Oh, I love it.
It's just different. Like you have to slow down and you have to tamp back your service expectations. Like not that it's bad service. I'm just saying like they culturally do it differently though. They relax there. We don't do that. Yeah, it's great.
When you go to the meat guy, it's literally just the meat guy.
That's it. That's all it is. Just a butcher. That's it.
You can't buy like you can't buy a USB cord and a...
You can't even buy salami at the butcher. You have to go to the salumeri or whatever the thing is called. You have to go to a different place.
And the tabloids and then some gum. And I'll have one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's no like, the only impulse purchase you're going to get is if you're like, I'm going to buy too many ribeyes. Oh. And they looked gorgeous too, by the way, the meats.
Yeah.
So we wound up we made a bunch of mussels, and then we just bought a huge tuna steak and a huge salmon steak and just cut them up and started eating them. We didn't even cook it. It was so good.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, God. I wish I was there.
The food is amazing.
I wish I was there.
It's worth a trip.
Yeah. So the successful trip, Europe, awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. Got my fix. And I went by myself, which doesn't happen. Usually I'm with the fam. Like, not that I didn't want to be with the fam, but it was just kind of nice to go by myself. You know, you have small children. So, you know, sometimes when you get away, you're like, ooh, this feels so decadent.
You know what I learned from you guys? You and the boys at Villa Capelli, or the gentlemen? I can't call them
yes.
Boys.
Well, they're let's face it.
You guys had talked about how there are gluten-free options when you go to Italy.
Yes.
Yeah, and
a lot.
And you think, I mean, I'd think like, well, okay, Italy pasta, it's just going to be wheat, but that's wrong. It's not the case, is it?
They cook with a lot of different kinds of flours in Italy, and they've made pastas out of chestnut flour and different, various things for many years. But I think what happened with Italy is that many years ago, they had a PR campaign about celiac. And now every child gets tested for it by the age of 6. So there's a lot of awareness. And in the grocery stores, which if you do go to one of the grocery stores, they have to have like a government mandated gluten-free section. So the awareness is so you can be in the middle of nowhere in the Alabama actually, I should say my grandfather's hometown is like even more rednecky Italian because they're in a hill town. He came from a hill town that's like on the spur of the boot. And not only does nobody speak English, their second language is still German, as if we're still like post World War II. Like it's crazy.
Wow.
Which, and I'm not trying to be like an ignorant American expecting everybody to speak English. I don't expect that. But usually in schools now in Europe, in most countries, English is taught as the primary second language. I know that in America, we have a choice of different things to learn, but you really should learn Spanish, at least in LA. But they're taught, and not there, they all speak German as their second language, which I thought was kind of funny, which, it's a very much a throwback. But in the top of the tiniest little hill town, at the one restaurant that happens to be open, that guy is going to be able to give me a bolognese with gluten-free pasta. And in fact, was insulted when I asked for a salad because I said I'm celiac and I didn't know what else to get. And he was like, and this is all in Italian, but he's like, of course I have gluten-free pasta. What do I look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, wow.
So I was like, oh, great. And it was amazing, of course. Now, I don't really eat the gluten-free pasta, nor did I have to, because Steven did all the cooking.
Oh, gosh.
So
what what'd you dig the most as far as food prep over there?
Well, Steven made this chicken cacciatore, which was unbelievable. It wasn't like an Olive Garden chicken cacciatore, I'm going to be honest. It was, first of all, I didn't realize that cacciatore is like an old school word for hunter.
Really?
And so a chicken cacciatore is not supposed to be necessarily hugely tomato-based because a hunter wouldn't be able to find tomatoes while he's out. It's a dish that you would prepare when you're going out on like a big game hunt and you're gone for like a few days, right?
Yeah.
That's where the dish originated.
Cacciatore.
So it was unbelievable. And then, so it's like herbs and stuff that you find. So you can make your chicken out of that, which also too, where do you get the chicken from? I don't know. Maybe you've hunted chicken.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Go outside
and
grab that
then
bird.
he did teach me how to make mussels because I've always been afraid to make mussels, but now apparently I'm an idiot because it's completely easy. You just put the mussels in a pot and pour some white wine over it and some garlic, and then you heat it up, and then the water comes out of the mussels.
Uh-huh.
That's what makes the broth. And once they start opening, it's done in like 5 minutes. And they were amazing.
Wow.
I don't know why I've never crossed the mussels path. I always get them at restaurants, but I don't, like at a French restaurant, but I've never made them at home.
So you are there takeaways from that trip? They're like, now I know what to integrate into my next.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the mussels thing, that was huge. They're making a new product, red wine sea salt they gave me some. I've been using that like on steaks and in my salad dressings. You know, the other takeaway was that here, I don't know about how your yard is, and you're in Northern California, right?
That's right.
I don't know how your yard is, if it exists anymore, but our yard is just basically like a dead zone of dead grass. It looks like hay and ash had a party. And I think that what I'm going to do now is just plant a whole bunch of stuff back there and just turn it into like basically like a wild garden.
Nice.
Because there's no sense in the grass came back for about 5 minutes in February and then it promptly got burnt off again. It never rained. Who knows when it's going to rain here?
Tomorrow.
Okay, no, it's not. Don't lie to me. Don't get my hopes up like that.
It's raining where Lonnie's at right now, apparently, so he's not working.
It's raining everybody else's.
Cool. I'm glad that the trip turned out. I stalk you guys online. You and that's just all I do. I just stalk folks online and get envious of what kind of life everyone else is living.
Well, that's what online's designed for. I do the same thing.
Right on.
Stalk everybody.
So you just came back from a gig. Is it okay for me to talk about the voiceover world with you a little bit?
Oh yeah, of course,
Yay.
of course. I might not be able to talk about that specific cartoon, but I did a cartoon. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. I know we didn't talk about it last time, but it's interesting to me how you could form your voice into somebody who's not you, and then yes. And then people like buy into it, and like, how do you get into that type of stuff? And can anybody do it?
Gosh, how do you get into it? I've always just kind of done voices, but that's not the main thing. Like, the main thing with voiceover stems from acting. A lot of radio people will do voiceover too because they have nice voices. But I actually talked to one of my regional agents. She said if she had to do it all over again and she was building a roster of talent, she would take actors, people who already knew how to act and do comedy, and teach them how to do voiceover, because it's a lot easier to teach mic techniques to people who already know how to act than it is to teach people how to act at an older age. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've been an actor since I was a little kid, but professionally since I was about 21 years old. And I just have always loved it. And I knew right after I got married when I was 26, I was like, I just want to do voiceover. I told my husband that, and he gave me a workshop with a teacher as a present. And I was just like, this is the best thing ever. So then when we moved to LA when I was 28, I got serious and I researched, and I had to earmark money because it's not cheap to get into voiceover. Like, it costs money. You have to study. You have to make a demo. You have to buy equipment. You have to, and I built it up slowly. But ultimately, it took a lot of practice. Also, it was a time when I was reading a lot. My daughter was little, so I was reading a lot to her every night. I think reading out loud is the best practice. If you can read for the blind, read for children, read for, reading using your speaking voice as often as possible. It helps. And especially reading children's books, you kind of already assign different characters to the characters and the different voices to the characters in the book. So that was really good practice. And then, even to this day, I do cartoons, I do video games, I do commercials, radio, television commercials. I do promos for ABC. I do narrations for television shows. But I also do like GPS systems and phone on hold stuff. Like when you call up the United States Postal Service. That's me going, thank you for calling the United States Postal Service. If you'd like to buy stamps, press 1. That's me saying that stuff. And in fact, one time I was so angry at this lady who was being so rude when we were at the post office, I was going to call and report her.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I took out my phone. I look up the number. Okay, 1-800-ASK-USPS. And I call it, and I heard that, and I was like, oh, yeah. I started laughing, and I hung up. I was like, I can't be mad at me.
That's so awesome.
Phone on hold stuff, phone messaging. I do like hundreds of British phone messages a month for a company called Grasshopper, which is one of those like, you can buy a phone number and get somebody to record voice. You know what I mean? So I do whatever pays the bills other than porn. And I think that's just because no one's asked me to record their porn.
Can you record some porn for me?
I knew it was going in that direction.
That's exactly you.
I knew it.
Went into my own hands. How you said?
All right.
Yeah.
So, Rel, you got me.
That's awesome.
Finally.
No, because I'm having to spend some time on my little portable recorder mic, and then I listen to other podcasts, and there are folks that talk about doing voiceover here and there. I'm like, oh, what does it take to actually do that stuff? And it makes so much sense that you come from a background of acting and then just learning the technicalities of being on a mic.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to make them. It's not that you can't do it any other way. I know a ton of people who do. I've found that if somebody already has a background in training in acting or performing. The other thing too is I started doing improv when I was 18 years old, and I've done over 1,000 improv shows, and now I do stand up. I think comedic timing helps a lot with voiceover. I book a lot of jobs because maybe I'll ad-lib a little joke. Like I don't recommend people do. Any of you actors out there reading voiceover copy, don't like fill it up with what you think are funny jokes. Ad-lib a little thing here and there, but don't go overboard. But I'm not, I just want to be clear about that because now people will send crazy auditions and their agents will be mad at them. But there are things like that. And also what's happened a lot is I'll ad-lib like a little funny joke, and usually a radio spot is where that works the best. I'll ad-lib like a funny joke in it, and then they'll be like, you got the job because you said that joke. Great, awesome. And then they'll take that joke and give it to the man in the spot. Which I know. I was like, well, all right, sexism still exists, but whatever. At least I got the job. Who cares?
Wow.
But yeah, that comedy helps is what I was saying.
Yeah, that's okay. Now you mentioned reading to your kids, with your voice, and have you found that reading to your children or to your daughter has impacted the way that she's able to read and sort of voice herself?
I mean, I don't know what the direct correlation is, but I will say that I was very proud of my daughter when she said halfway through middle school that she really liked to read out loud, like when the teacher called on her. Yay. And yeah, I know. You want them to like not be afraid. You want them to be able to speak clearly with nice diction. Oh, yeah. Not that it's the end of the world if they don't, like, who cares? But it was nice to hear, okay, good. Well, good. You shouldn't be afraid of that. I'm sorry that that's a big fear that people have because it's, also too, the messing up part, usually and all the work they're going to hear is after like 10 editors have been on it. Like if you could just hear the takes and all the flubs and all the mess ups, Yeah, I
just remembered. I'm gonna put our conversation in a podcast, and the listeners are gonna start off hearing Anna Vocino at the top of the show as the intro, and at the end of the show as the outro.
Oh yeah.
So this is it's all about Anna today, folks.
When I'm going on a bunch of podcasts to promote the book, and it's funny because a lot of them that I'm going on are like yours, where they're like, "Hey, do you remember you do our thing?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know." Oh yeah, I forgot. That's awesome.
Yeah, Simply Human podcast.
Yep, I talked to them earlier today.
Yeah, I know. I have my people out there.
Apparently, everybody's talking.
No, I had time. I'm like, who else can I talk to today? And I pinged Rick Bentley. I'm like, hey, what are you doing today? He goes, we're about to podcast with Anna Vocino in 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I brought up the thing. Trying to get back in line. Brought up the thing about reading to your daughter because apparently my oldest boy reads really well for his age.
Oh, that's good.
He just wrapped up the first grade, but he's being tested for having like the reading ability of like a fourth grader or something.
Wow. So are you just buying him a bunch of books now because he's just tearing through them?
He's got tons of books. Whether or not he's torn through them, I don't know. But his teacher has said that his, like, what do you say, his diction and the way you pause and the way you enunciate and the way you express based on what's written, he does it. The typical kid at his age doesn't do. And I try and think about, like, was it all those times that I just did a whole bunch of fake voices when I spoke to him and read to him?
Maybe.
And just
is he a little bit of a smart ass? Does he have a sense of humor?
To his younger brother, he is.
But a friend of mine who is now 48, but when he was little, he was living in an apartment with his mom here in LA, and he was, I want to say he was 7 or 8. So end of first grade, end of second grade is 8. So he was kind of like making sassy comments to one of the neighbors. And it turns out one of the neighbors was a manager, and he was like, he got a piece of cartoon copy, which copy just means like a page from a script.
Uh-huh.
And so he got him the side from the copy, and he said, "Here, read this." And he read it very clearly and basically kind of performed it.
Yeah.
And this kid had no acting experience or anything. And this manager basically took him on, and within like a month or two, he was a contract player with Hanna-Barbera, and he was a little kid voice on all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is very cool.
Because it is hard to find kids who can read clearly, and like my daughter had a horrible lisp, which she's finally grown out of, but like she was too old to still have that lisp for a little while. People kept saying, like, "Aren't you going to take her to speech therapy? You especially consider what you do for a living?" And I was like, "No, she's fine. She'll grow out of it."
Yeah, I'm going
No, she won't, and she'll have a lisp. Who cares? Like,
I develop a lisp every now and then, I think it'll get worse the older I get, because the lazier I get with moving my tongue and my lips and stuff.
yeah, totally,
I'll just
totally. I hear you. I'm like, I feel like just have to smile. Exactly.
Yeah, you asked if my kid was a smart aleck or something like that. He at his age, he's 7. The most smart alecky he is towards me is when I ask him to do something or I confirm something with him, and then he'll just look at me and he'll smile and he'll sort of repeat what I say, but end it with the word. He'll end it with the word poop. It's like,
Yeah, I like this kid.
It's like, poop is not a period. You don't end your sentence with poop.
Yeah, you do.
But it's funny.
It's hilarious, and I like that he's already doing poop jokes. Good job.
Okay, he's got a future. Son, you've got a future.
Yeah, there's some people who make a lot of money off making that joke, so there you go.
You talked about stand-up.
Yes.
Tell me about your stand-up, Anna.
Oh, Annie, whatever your name is. It's great. I love it. It's something I started not very long ago, and I am doing shows. I'm actually doing Vinny's show tomorrow, Vinny's Big Fat Show at the Ice House. Ah, yeah. Which is going to be super fun. I get to open for him and then bring him out on stage, and then I'm going to, do the. We're basically, he's going to do a Q&A format, so I'm going to get to go throughout the audience and have them ask questions of Vinny.
So you're an actress, and you do stand up, and
yeah.
I'm imagining that you've been doing it for years.
Stand up?
Yeah. Well, just being out there.
No, it's very new.
Oh, really?
Very new. Yep. Stand up requires a lot of writing.
Yeah.
And a lot of getting up there and saying it out loud to put it in your nervous system, because it's just you with the microphone and a bright light on you. You know what I mean? So it's a different animal. And for me, I'd rather I work with a writers group, and we work with each other, because it's very labor. You have to do a lot of writing with stand up before you're like, you will write like 100 things, and you'll be like, these 2 things are worthy of saying out loud in front of people. It's a lot.
Ah, really?
It's a process. Yeah. And like, for instance, like I went to see Louie CK when he did a show in Oxnard, which is like a suburb about 50 miles from north of LA.
I vacation there sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's right on the beach. So he did it like the Oxnard Civic Center, but he emailed his list, and you could get tickets for like $18 because he's working on material that he's going to film for his next special or whatever, And it's funny because that was May, and I know he was doing stuff even before that, and then now he's filling the arenas at like $80 a seat, with that material, so you work it and work it and work it. And of course, by me bringing up Louis CK, I of course am comparing myself to him. No, I'm not. So, but I'm just saying, like, illustrating that there is a process, and sometimes it's fun to go to the comedy clubs because I'll be up doing a show and then somebody will want to pop in and, like Eliza Schlesinger or Ali Wong will pop in and want to like work on, because a lot of comics also write on stage, which means instead of writing with a group or something, they'll think of stuff that they want to go work out on stage and see what works, and they record it and then they play it back and see what works.
So I hear like there are these folks that you mentioned, all of these folks who do stand up and act. They put themselves out there and they're very animated and exciting and hilarious and all that good stuff. But then when they step away from the audience or the camera or the mic, then I've heard that folks just end up being more sort of kind of introverted. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I think it's very common. I'm not hugely extroverted unless I'm in a room full of people that I know. Vinny's quite quiet, actually. Like, for instance, Vinny and I will be super loud on the podcast. But then if you like put us in a room with Andrea Anders and Serena, they'll be the loudest people. You know what I mean? Like, we both kind of just get mellow and just have at it.
I'm saving it for the podcast. Go ahead, you can talk.
Saving it. But it's not. It's funny because it's not even about a saving it thing. It's just more of about I know when to focus my energy and then when to just keep it quiet.
Interesting. Yeah, I heard that the whole introvert extrovert thing, like, they're really not like polar opposites of each other. One is sort of like, what is it? When you're introvert, it's more of just how you choose to recharge and recover, versus people who are extrovert. They just really enjoy being out, and that's actually even their way how they recover. They just like being out. But
well, you know what's funny is when I was younger, I used to be that way. I used to want to go to all the parties and see all the people. And then I wound up realizing now that I'm older that was a way of kind of escaping feelings in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Like I prefer to be introverted and just kind of like have some downtime, not speak. Also, too, there are days when I'm doing 6 or 7 sessions and I'm just tired of speaking.
Yeah.
I'm tired. My voice is tired. I'm just tired. I need a rest, So it's definitely changed. But it used to be like, oh, there's a party. I'm going. Oh my God, I'm going to the party. Like that was and I would always feel totally recharged after going to a party. Whereas now I'm like, I don't want to have to drive to the party and then make small talk and then drink too much. And then, you know what I mean? So now it seems like a chore. The older I get, I just want to wear sweats and watch Housewives and be quiet.
Sounds exciting.
And Snapchat Snapchat the Housewives idiocy.
My kid's into the whole Snapchat app. We don't share anything. He just likes to like morph and get filters and
it's fun.
Face change.
My friend was like, I don't like that app. The filters scare me. I was like, what do you mean they scare you? And they're disturbing.
I did this thing. I have this travel mug that's basically a photo collage of the family, and my kid wants to play with the Snapchat app and do face changing.
I will say face swap is frightening.
I don't have time.
And hilarious.
I don't have time to be next to you so you can face swap with me. Just face the camera onto this collage mug of people on it, and then face swap what's on there. So you could actually you can get
that's funny.
Take pictures of other stuff and face swap inanimate objects.
Yeah, you can. You can face swap with what's in your camera roll too. Oh. It's all twisted, and it's the biggest time toilet on the planet. Let's face it.
Yeah, I've deleted it many times, but had to reinstall it because he was bored and wanted to face swap. I've literally taken my phone and deleted all the photos and all the videos and all the apps that you can possibly delete just to have space, because I've been messing around with videos lately and trying to vlog. So I've been inundating my camera roll with all these videos so that I can put together later to, for some reason, share with the world, because for some reason I think they're going to care later on.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to, I don't know if you can hear me typing. I'm trying to get access into my computer because I did have a few things written out. I've been at this all day.
Yeah, you're doing good. Listen to me. I'm yawning. It's hitting me now. It's 3:40. Mama's losing her steam.
I appreciate you losing steam on the mic with me.
Yeah, I know. It's nice, right? It's nice when your guest starts yawning.
I don't.
On the show. It's nothing to do with the show. Okay, here's what happened. I received the hard copy of the book last night. I got home from my writers group at midnight. The hard copy of the book was sitting on the porch, and I brought it inside like, oh my God, it's here. I have never seen it printed up as the hard copy. And I open it up, and it's not where I want it to be.
Aww.
And so I was like, ah, ah, ah. So I was, okay, calm down because you have to go to bed. So I finally went to bed around 1, and then I just got up at 6, like panicked, like, I have to, it'll be okay, we'll figure it out. Everything is figure-outable, as Marie Forleo says. So I'll figure it out. But it was one of those things where I was like, then you realize at this point in the day, it's time for some coffee, and it's time to like just.
Guess what I'm looking at online?
Eat Happy.
Oh, yeah. Eat Happy. Gluten-free, grain-free, low-carb recipes made from real foods for a joyful life. Kindle edition by Anna Vocino. Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Oh. You know, I've been...
Let's see. Hold on. I'm scrolling through. I want to see. Now I'm going to be obsessed. Oh, I've jumped from... Amazon bestsellers rank from number 48,000 and change to number 27,000 and change. So that means some folks are buying it. And I'm looking. Oh, good. Look, I got Vinny to write a blurb, and I got Nancy Wolfson to write a blurb.
Wow.
I know I have blurbs. I'm legit.
Oh God.
I'm too legit to quit, Ruel.
Yeah, I've been stalking. I've been logging on to Amazon and trying to see if there was if you had snuck in the any version of the book Eat Happy on Amazon without notifying anybody in the group. So
no, I would have definitely trust me, I need this to sell. But I will say, when I went to Amazon to search, I think so many people have been searching it, so when I type Eat Happy, then the suggestions come up: Eat Happy Anna, Eat Happy Anna V, Eat Happy Anna Vocino, which is cool. There is another. When I decided to title this Eat Happy, there were no other cookbooks named Eat Happy.
Really?
In the Kindle store. And now there are like a bunch of little like Kindle single things and the
That's crazy. But yours is a real one.
Wait, when you go to Amazon and you search it, what does it say? Does mine even come up?
Yours comes up.
I'm doing it right
came
now.
up with all the other wannabe Eat Happy books.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, see, this thing should have been out 2 years ago when I first decided, and then I would have been the only Eat Happy, and then the other people, here's a book named Eat Fish and Be Happy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just think it's funny.
This is awesome.
So when I search Eat Happy, mine is still, it'll go further up, but mine is like, it's like 12 down. In fact, there are like 11 books not named Eat Happy before my book named Eat Happy comes up. So if you can't find it, definitely search Eat Happy Anna or Eat Happy Anna V.
Okay, well,
and then it'll come up at the top.
Well, you know what I've got now. Now that this is here, I have some other resource to link to and refer to over and over and over and over again.
Yay!
You can't stop making it available.
No, it's available. And then right now it's just the e-version. Everyone's asking me a million times, what about the hard copy? I'm on it. It's going to be out. I just don't know exactly when, but ASAP.
So yeah. Would you mind talking about sort of like I need the origin story of your Eat Happy book. Can you tell me the origin story?
Well, I mean, it just became really obvious when Vinny and I were podcasting because I already had a gluten-free food blog, but I wasn't doing NSNG, which is no sugars, no grains. I was trying to do my own thing and it wasn't working. And I then finally decided to do it. And I was like, well, what if I start making my recipes sugar-free and grain-free? And then it became it was so obvious, like, duh. He does the fitness part. I do the food part. He does not know how to cook. He knows how to make a smoothie, but I think he can burn water. So I don't, you know what I mean? It's like, it makes sense that I would do this. But then we talked about, should I do a book called the NSNG Cookbook? And frankly, he could be leaving a lot of money on the table, but we decided to do separate books and just help each other promote our books.
Mm-hmm.
We're a good team that way. And I have, for instance, recipes that were on my old site that and now, like I used to make a shepherd's pie that's unbelievable, but I'm not going to leave that up on my site. So I delete that because now my focus is entirely no sugars, no grains recipes. Every now and then there is a sweet recipe up there. Because I do believe that if you're going to make a treat, you should make it homemade with nice ingredients and eat it that way. Don't go get a Ralph's sheet cake with all the, ingredients, all the chemicals in it. So my dessert recipes are real dessert recipes. I don't make fake desserts with like xylitol or like stevia. And you know what I mean? I'm like, I will make a real dessert with like honey and actual maple syrup. Like I will do that. But for the most part, 95% of the recipes are sugar-free and grain-free. But the low carb shepherd's pie, instead of using mashed potatoes for the mash on top, you do cauliflower. And trust me, you don't miss it.
Can I tell you?
You don't miss the potatoes.
Can I tell you that recipe I've made several times, and I've talked about it on the podcast, and I've shared the recipe, and I say the same thing. You think that you might be having the creamiest potato, or what is it? Right? You're not.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah,
you're not. You're eating a vegetable. It's so great, and that's what I love too about like I'm not necessarily trying to do trickery, but if the cauliflower works in place of rice or potatoes, why not? So like a cauliflower fried rice recipe, which actually is not in this cookbook, but it will be coming out on the blog. A cauliflower fried rice recipe, you're basically just eating a big bowl of delicious vegetables. So like, what's wrong with that? Nothing.
And the cauliflower, when you do the mash, you put cream cheese in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And it makes it so smooth, and you got that delicious, healthy fat in there. You can't go wrong.
And for me, now that I don't do dairy anymore, which, by the way, there's lots of dairy-free recipes in the cookbook, and there's lots of dairy-full recipes, and there's lots of recipes where you could go, oh, I could just omit the Parmesan, or, you can figure it out. It's easy. But what I do is, like, one brand that I really like is Kite Hill. It's an almond-based cream cheese. So I use that in place, and it's delicious. It's so good.
Ooh, where do you get it?
That's at Whole Foods. I don't think they have it at Sprouts. I think it's just at Whole Foods. But I feel like I want to get in touch with them and talk to them because I want to be like, I want to like market for them because they're so good. For dairy-free stuff, there's not a lot of great dairy-free choices because some of them are made with crappy oils. Like Daya cheese I used to use a lot. But then I saw it's made with canola oil. Ooh. So I was like, damn you, Daya cheese.
I know, right? You look at the ingredients list, you see canola on it, and it's like a bad word.
And your heart sinks. Yeah. You're like, oh, man. Especially, we just had this guy named Kiran Krishnan on the podcast, and his interview won't come out for another 2 or 3 weeks, but he was talking about he did this experiment on college students where he would have them eat a McDonald's breakfast and then pay them $20. So they got free McDonald's breakfast and $20 in your college. That's like amazing, right? And they did this experiment, and it would take the kids 14 days for the inflammation to be tamped down after eating the McDonald's breakfast. And it wasn't because of the food, it was because all the chemicals and the crappy oils used.
And that's just
14 days. So imagine like the times where you've gone, oh, you know what? I had too much to drink last night. I just want McDonald's.
Yeah.
How much you're making it worse. So, you're making your hangover worse.
It's the standard stereotypical college diet with that McDonald's breakfast. 14 days? Are you serious?
Right. Yes. You have to hear this interview. It's so good. We talked to him for like 2 hours because, of course, I made it about me. I'm like, well, not if you have celiac. Well, what if you have celiac and you also can't have dairy? Like I was talking to him
because once in a while I was like, what the heck? I'll have that little piece of bread with the butter before the food is delivered.
Yeah.
And then my general thought is I just need to wait like 5 or 7 days for this to kind of clear out of my system. But holy crap, 14 days?
Well, also it depends on like what kind of bread you're having. If you're having a nice bread or if you're having a crappy bread made with crappy ingredients, you know what I mean? It might not take 14 days or 7 days even. It might just take 3 days.
Yeah.
But it's like, it makes you think about being really deliberate with your cheats. For me, I haven't been to McDonald's in ages because there's really almost nothing I can eat there anymore other than French fries. And I'm pretty sure their French fries are going to have gluten in them just because they fry all their McNuggets and stuff in it. So I don't even go there. You know what I mean? It's just
it's kind of like what else? Oh, what was the other one? When you order steamed broccoli at some place like I don't know, we're just gonna throw it out there, like a Red Robin's or something.
right.
And how do you think they would steam?
They steam it with the pasta water is what they do.
Is that? Yeah.
That's what I hear, at least. But it would make sense because I am pretty anal about going to restaurants, and I don't want to be an a-hole when I order. I want to be, in fact, I'll go in the other opposite direction and like be too nice. But gosh, it's tough because I've been to restaurants and know for sure that I ate clean and I'll get sick. So I'm pretty sure it's got to be cross-contamination. That stuff happens. They can't help it. It's a restaurant. What are they going to do? They can't they can't sanitize their restaurant for a couple people with food allergies. You just can't do it. It's not. You can't even expect that.
If you end up being an a-hole, then you just can't go back for a while because they're going to spit in your food next time you order.
Totally. No, I actually just wrote a piece about that for my stand-up, about how I go in the opposite direction. And I'm like, you know what? Tell me where the kitchen is. I'm just going to go spit in my food for you. In fact, you sit down. You take a load off. Why don't I take over your tables? I'll tip you out at the end of the night. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to spit on my food tonight.
Yeah. Wait.
I don't feel like going out, but I want to feel like I went out. I'm just going to spit on my food here at home. That's awesome. Hey,
you can do that. It's it's your home. You could do whatever you want.
I've been thinking. I've been doing a lot of meal prep. Primarily for my wife, because at the beginning of the year, we found out that she had some autoimmune related concern.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has more on the thyroid type end of the spectrum.
So is that Graves?
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
So things are pretty much sorted out and in control, and we went hard. Had it not been for paying attention to what you have to say about your experience with autoimmune disease or conditions, and having to hear other people who have experienced it, and professionals and podcasters and all the stuff that's out there on the web.
Yeah.
Had it not been for that information, I wouldn't have been able to say, okay, this is what I've heard. Let's go investigate the functional medicine side of things. Let's go investigate. I can't see. There's my list happening already. I can't.
What are you going to
do? Let's go and investigate what traditional medicine would do, and then try and figure things out and get her right. And with the help of her doctor and the help of a functional medicine doctor, who happens to also be a podcaster,
great.
Actually, I should maybe hook you guys up too.
Yeah.
You and Vinny's, because I'd love for those two worlds to collide. But yeah, we got her straight, and I've been doing a lot of meal prep since for things that are more sort of autoimmune, protocol, paleo, definitely NSNG, and like what you say, take it to the next level. Sometimes NSNG is a good starting point, is your base, and a lot of people have success.
It's the base. It's the base.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no turning back. That's the new base.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes you have to tweak other things.
Yeah. Like how you've done the dairy and So there's all this meal prep that goes on, and she pulls stuff and off the web. I'm like, okay, I can do that. Here's some areas where we'll need to tweak, so we're not using so much of, say, like, I don't know, honey or whatever. We'll omit this ingredient, that ingredient. But I find as I'm going through all of these recipes, not yours, I'm like, what the heck is this? What is this person trying to say in this recipe? It doesn't make any sense. I'm
telling you, that's why this thing took so long, because if anything's unclear, trust me, the last thing I want is for people to email me going, I don't get this step. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. I don't have time for that. But that's a big thing that happens in the recipe industry, in the blog world, in magazines. They're not fully flushed out recipes. They haven't made them a bunch of times.
The thing will tell me get some zest of a lime and some whole juice of a freshly squeezed lime, and nowhere does it tell me what to stick it, what to do with it,
Oh, it doesn't mention it in the instructions, but it has it in the ingredient list?
Yeah, the more recent one was 2 cloves of crushed garlic. I'm like, great. I'm going through the recipe. Where am I supposed to stick the garlic? Doesn't say.
And then you feel like you're going crazy because you keep reading over it going, wait, where does it say garlic?
Yeah.
That actually happened to me recently with something I had put up where they said, I think that you forgot to put one. I was like, oh my God, and fixed it. But I had Jackie and Danielle and myself and an editor who I paid $850 to go over the book to make sure that, first of all, when you write a recipe, every ingredient has to be listed in the order in which it's going to be used in the instructions.
Exactly.
Okay. Second of all, you have to make sure that every ingredient listed in the ingredient is, and vice versa. And there were a lot of mistakes because there was a lot of recipes that I adapted from being sugars and grains recipes. There's a lot, so it's like something like rice flour was like still in there. I was like, wait, what? Why is that even in there? Like, take that out. So there was a lot of revision. And then even after looking at things a million times, something that said, 1 cup of lemon juice would say 1 lemon juice. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I miss that? Like, it was infuriating. I wanted to rip my hair out. It was awful.
Well, I'm sure it's going to
And I can't believe that I'm saying I'm writing another one because honestly, it's the most annoying process ever.
I gotta get on and order the Kindle version and then get the hard copy because I can't stand it. I'm at my kitchen and there's these other cookbooks. I'm like, I gotta have Anna's book on here in the kitchen.
Oh, yay!
And even printouts of recipes like stuck on the refrigerator. But I'm excited. I can't. I want to talk forever about everything from cooking to all the creative stuff that you've been able to do. I just love talking about like trying to get into the mechanics of all things creative. Because I'm not.
Well, you are though. You're creating a podcast. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You're creating something. I always think that's funny where business people don't think that they're creative too. I'm always like, no, you are creative. Like you're creating business. And it's interesting because I thought that the cookbook would be like a weird detour that I would be taking, not realizing how much it incorporates who I am and my comedy. And, plus you got to eat. Like, what are you going to do? Not eat? You have to eat. So why not make a cookbook and eat and then also do comedy? Who knows? Who knew? I don't know. I can't figure it out. But it all is kind of tied in. And I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad it unfolded this way.
So this title will be auto-delivered to your Kindle on August 2nd.
Yeah.
So now, what am I missing?
Buying it like on the air right now?
What am I missing? So the Kindle edition is here for everybody.
Yes.
So
the Kindle edition's ready to be sold. I don't believe Barnes & Noble edition is up yet or the iBooks edition. Mm-hmm. But as soon as the hard copy's up, it will be available as another format. Okay. And also I'm doing an audiobook, but that's not going to be for like another 6 weeks.
An audiobook. Is Vinny going to do it for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have Vinny read my audiobook for me.
How real quick, how would that be like?
If Vinny read my audiobook?
Yeah.
It would probably be us fighting.
the thing with the thing, that kind of thing. Yeah, one more. Yeah.
Put the thing with the zucchini and put the cheese on it after when you're done.
He's like, help me out here. You know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? The thing.
Nope.
The thing. You know the thing that has the white and then the blade and then you do the thing and it has a top. Vitamix, Vinny. It's a Vitamix.
It's like, hold on. Now I'm thinking about a song. I got to look it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you turn over the zucchini before it burns?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're about time. Before we go, I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. Have we missed anything regarding the book?
Have we missed anything?
Maybe would you sort of wrap up for folks, the book again and where they can find it and all that good stuff.
Okay. The book is called Eat Happy: Gluten-Free, Grain-Free, Low-Carb Recipes for a Joyful Life by me, Anna Vocino. Here, I'll read you this. Eat Happy has 154 delicious grain-free, gluten-free recipes that are also free of any processed sugars. There are meats, fish, sides, soup, starters, casseroles, slow cooker recipes, breakfast dishes, and even desserts to satisfy any sweets craving you might have, all with virtually no sugar. If you are low-carb, paleo, are wanting to keep autoimmune issues at bay, or just want to lose extra weight, Eat Happy gives you comfort food where you won't miss the sugars or grains, so your body and brain can feel happy from eating real foods. How's that?
Yay!
Yay! So yeah, it's available. The ebook is available for purchase. And I'm finding out that a lot of people like cookbooks on an ebook. Okay, go get it then. Now's your chance.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on the release, or at least you're at this stage.
Thank you.
I'm so happy. Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
All right. Folks, that is the lovely and talented Anna Vocino, author of Eat Happy, and I can't wait to get my copy and hopefully get you back on the show. Thank you, Anna.
Please do. Thank you. We're whispering now. just in case anybody's listening to this as they're drifting off to sleep.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.